Hola, mi gente. Whoop, whoop. Tania Lopez here from Art y Son. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you for visiting me in this channel. I normally share my art journey as well as all of the things that I learned along the way of how to run my home business or sell my artwork and all of that good stuff. I kind of have realized that I focus for that beginner entrepreneur, not necessarily the beginner artist, just the beginner entrepreneur. If you're trying to figure out how you're going to go ahead and start selling your artwork or what are some other venues that you can do with your art, then hey, check out the channel. You will learn a little bit, I hope. In this video, I wanted to go ahead and share with you how I plan out my year as a visual artist. Now, I will say this, if you have been here, you know that I am also a crafter, but I'm going to go ahead and do that on a second video with partnered up with a fellow North Carolina crafter. In that one, we're going to go ahead and do things a little bit differently. We will talk about how we plan out the year as a crafter. And the reason we're separating it is because when it comes to crafting, you have to kind of plan a little bit different since you have physical products. And of course, she's a wood burning artist, so it's time consuming. All of her stuff is very detailed. And so it's a little bit differently than this as a visual artist, where you can actually rely more on social media and maybe have more possibilities when it comes to selling your artwork digitally without going to vendor shows and stuff like that. So if you are an artist or if you kind of dabble in both aspects, go ahead and stay tuned, stick with this video, see what you can get out of it, and then keep an eye out for the next video with Jeanette. Okay, sorry, I had to go ahead and take off the hoodie real quick and kind of rearrange a little bit because I was feeling uncomfortable. So regardless, all right, so before I go ahead and tell you how I plan out my year, let me just go and mention again, just in case you don't know, what exactly I do or what I create my artwork for. Most of my art has been Puerto Rican artwork, right? Anything with Puerto Rican flag, Puerto Rican culture, that is basically what I am known for. But at the same time, I do like to draw other things because my goal, my overall goal, is to be able to expand to different demographics and really set myself up, okay? I'm gonna be a little bit selfish. It's more about setting myself up for success. Sometimes when you are very, 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 very niche-y, it kind of limits the things that you can do. So even though I'm going to continue creating my Puerto Rican artwork, I do want to make sure that I create other things that also allow me to partake in different art worlds or different art scenes. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, then you know a lot of the things that I do is I make my artwork and then I either create art prints for sales, which is what I've done in the past. I would make sure that I would print them out in fine art paper, non-yellowing, archival paper. I would be the one responsible for packaging and all of that stuff. And then I would go ahead and also put them on print-on-demand companies such as RedBubble, Society6. And then very recently, I kind of touched a little bit on creating some patterns, some seamless patterns that I was able to then expand a little bit to things like spoon flower. So now me looking into the year, and I know the kind of things that I do, the print on demand, spoon flower, art prints, those are the things that I'm going to keep in mind. A lot of people also know that I do some crafting, especially when it comes to my holiday ornaments. Sometimes I do coasters and things like that. But I've decided that I'm going to change things up a little bit because some of those things are very time consuming. So I had to make some changes. All right. So let's just go ahead and break it down. All right. So step one for me, since I am trying to make sure to keep all of these things in mind as far as what I'm going to be using my artwork for, I want to go ahead and start doing my research. Now, mind you, I already began doing this in the end of the year, continuing into January. And that is by me looking at what is going to be trending, or what's the projection of what's going to be trending for the following year. So for 2022. My go-to is always Pantone Color of the Year, which this year is the Very Perry. So lots of, it's a purple. It's basically a purple. But I go ahead and look at what the projection, their palettes are for the year. And the thing about it is, I like to look at these colors and think of, are these colors something that I can inject and put into my art, and see what can I create that would then be able to fall under what's trending, or what's the projection of what's going to be trending. And of course, when it comes to surface designs, so like the fabrics, the tablecloth, the maybe some artwork as well. When people are decorating their homes, they're going by those colors. So you kind of pay attention to what's going to be trending for let's say spring, what's going to be trending for summer, fall, etc. And you try to think ahead of what kind of projects you can create to incorporate some of these colors so that you can use those there as well. So that's step one for me. What's going to be trending for 2022. So when I did see that the Very Perry, which don't mind my printer kind of sucks right now, but this is just for me. The Very Perry, and that's the color of the year, the Pantone Color of the Year. I kind of started playing around, and you guys know, I mean, if you've been here, then you know I suck at Adobe and Photoshop and all of that stuff. So I started looking into how to create these seamless patterns, which I've done in the past, but how to create the seamless patterns by hand, or maybe I can just create the motifs and then outsource the project itself as far as creating the seamless pattern. But regardless, I went ahead with those colors in mind. I start thinking about what I'm going to do. So something like this, you know, what can I use? What can I do to have that is going to be trending? What's the other one? And here would be like a simple art print. Don't mind, this is Aubrey's artwork. Don't mind that. But things that I can do and play around with that I can then use as far as what's trending. So that's just to give you an example of how I start prepping for the year. I start looking ahead as to what's going to be trending, what color. Maybe sometimes, I don't know if you guys pay attention, you go to a store and you start seeing that they are honeybees all of a sudden trending, or lemons and things like that. So just keep an eye out and do the research, a lot of decorators, and see what is going to be trending and what can you possibly incorporate into your artwork. Now, and then again, you have to start doing this at the end of the previous year so that you can be ahead, you know, on top of the game. So that's step one for me. Step two for me is to create an overall goal for the entire year. The big picture, okay? The umbrella, the big umbrella. And so for 2022, I decided that I wanted to create more passive income. So like that, it allows me to have more time to paint, because I feel that a lot of the times I just don't have that. I don't have the time to paint and to craft or do whatever it is that I want to do. And so I said that for this year, I was gonna create more passive income. So create more work that I can put on my print on demand, that I can put on my website, do things, try to think outside of the box and do things that would set me up for success without me having to continuously stay on top of it. And so that was my big 2022 goal. Step three is for me to then create a timeline of how I'm going to accomplish this goal. So remember, I did my research. What's going to be the it for this year, my goal, and now I have to create my timeline of how I'm going to break my year up. Now, before I would break things up by events, right? For a good minute, I would break things up by holidays, what's happening next. And now I kind of break things up more with a mixture of seasonal and quarterly. Okay. So, for example, holiday season is very heavy. Now, the beginning of the year, January, February, and March, are more of the slower months as far as selling. At least for me, it is. And so it is the time that I utilize to kind of start getting those gears turning for spring, summer, fall. Why? Because once those things happen, most of the times after the holidays, people are resting, right? And when I say resting, I don't just mean physically. I mean emotionally, I mean financially. They have to recuperate, and so they are on downtime. You are on quote unquote downtime as well, but not really. You're really more just utilizing this time to prep for what's going to be happening. When spring comes, people get excited. They want to do spring cleaning. They want to redecorate their houses. They want to buy things, and you want to utilize that time. Or not utilize that time. You want to take advantage of what ends up happening. Same thing for summer. Here's a new season. People want to buy, different things. They want to go places, and because they go places, they want to wear new things, and all of these things are happening. And you kind of have to make sure that you ride this wave and this momentum. And the time for you to be able to take advantage of that is now. So these couple of months. So I start creating a timeline as far as how I'm going to go ahead and accomplish the goal that I just set for myself. Like I said, I want to be able to create more passive income. In order for me to create more passive income, if you want to know what passive income is, it's going to take minimal amount of energy in the long run. So you may have to do a lot of work initially and maybe a lot of investment, whether it's time, money, whatever, tears, with the knowledge that after a while, that's going to be able to create income for you without you having to do anything else. And so that's my goal. My goal is to be able to create things that's going to make money for me while I'm doing other things. And so I do that already with my print on demand, RedBubble Society 6. I added the spoon flower, but I have not been using it to the best of its abilities or capabilities. And so this year I said, I want to go ahead and create some more digital downloads. So like printable art prints that people can just download at home. My goal was to initially do it on my website, but then that came into some money that I'm not prepared to spend right now. So I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and go and do it on Etsy. Not my goal. My goal was not to create Etsy and have another website going, but it's just the best for me right now. And I said, okay, I want to create more printable items or downloadable items that I can go ahead and create, and then people can purchase and they can just download and do what they got to do. It saves me time from printing myself and shipping myself or having things at hand when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I said, what's my timeline? My timeline is to be able to have all of these products up and ready to go by at least March, no later than April. Why? Because I want to be able to be done with that aspect of it and then utilize, May I don't really do much because it's my birthday month. But anyways, I want to be able to then April, May, and June, no later than July, have all of the things that I need for my holidays already painted and prepped. Remember, I mentioned that in my previous video. And so that's my goal. My goal is I want to have all of my holiday season stuff done by mid-year. In order for me to have time to have that stuff by mid-year, I want to go ahead and create all of these digital downloads now so I can put them up there, forget about them, maybe just come back and revisit when it's time to refresh some tags, or maybe share them on my other social media. But that's my goal. That's what I want to do. And really, that's how I'm breaking up my year. As you can see, I'm breaking it up with quarterly. I want to be done by the first quarter. I want to be done with this project so by my second quarter, I can be ready for Christmas holiday season. This is going to lead me to my third quarter. So here comes my timeline. By my third quarter, really now I should be able to paint now. Hopefully that's my goal, is to be able to have time to paint more of my bigger works, my bigger pieces, and maybe take some commissions so that I can paint those commissions, prepping again for the holidays. By the time the last quarter of the year comes, which is the holidays, your time should be spent on promoting, and promoting some more. So like that, you can start your sales for your holidays. And so that's basically my timeline. I'm going to go ahead and go over that again really briefly. First quarter, start prepping my passive income. So my second quarter, I can prep my crafts or my artwork that I'm going to be doing. Third quarter, I'm working on commissions. Fourth quarter is holiday season. I'm selling stuff, okay? Prepping, packaging, shipping. That's my timeline. That is it, right? So I gave you my 3 steps. Now I do want to add a 4th step. And it's not necessarily as far as like your timeline goes, but maybe how you can pan out some of your projects so that it fits your timeline. And I'm going to go ahead and create another video to go into more depth as far as how I optimize my artwork or how I optimize my projects so that I can get the most out of it when it comes to my overall goal, right? And I'm gonna give you 2 different ways briefly of how I do this. So I mentioned that 2022, I want to create more passive income. The way for me to do this, or the way that I chose to do this, is to create more digital downloads, items, products, and of that nature. Some of the products that I decided that I was going to go ahead and work on are downloadable art prints, some greeting cards, and maybe some downloadable sticker packs and things of that nature. But I also keep in mind of the things that I also do in other sites, which are the RedBubble and Society 6, and Spoonflower, of course. I'm thinking of maybe adding 1 or 2 other ones, but those are ways of me creating some kind of passive income, right? And so I want to make sure that I create projects that I can utilize in all of these, if not all of them, at least most of these venues. So I'll give you one example. That would be this right here, something simple. I'm just going to use this as an example. So I said I wanted to create some greeting cards, and the types of greeting cards that I want to create would be for your events that will take place, that people would be gifting a greeting card. So birthdays, Father's Day, Mother's Day, graduation, and so forth. So here I have a graduation. The original drawing was like this, right? And I figured, okay, if I go ahead and add congratulations, by the way, it's off center, but this is my test print, so don't mind it. But added congratulations, I can go ahead and add this on a greeting card. I'll add something later on that they could put inside. Again, test print, don't mind it. But then if I remove this up here, I can just have it on its own as a sticker that someone may want to be able to gift, because it does say 2022 graduate. Maybe I can put this on a tote or a t-shirt that someone can gift to the graduate of the graduate in their life, right? And so that's ways for me to optimize this one art piece. So one illustration that I can use in different scenarios. But I can also create projects that are linked with each other, and therefore I can work on them at the same time. And for that, I created a chart for myself. And this right here, it says artwork series. I create a theme and then the elements of what those things may be. I think, trying to think of how I can explain this a little better. Let's say I wanted to say graduation, that would be my theme, and I want to create multiple things. So I might make this one, which is the little girl, but I may create a different one like this, and that would be element 2. But I can work on all of those things at one time. Or I have a painting project that I have in mind, which is for the orichas, and I'm like, okay, what are the elements? So I have Oshun, Ogun, Yemeya, all these things, and I'm working on these things simultaneously at the same time because I'm doing it as a series, and therefore I'm thinking of it collectively. And that's just a way for me to get my brain going to work in optimizing my time, my resources, my mental capacity, how I can work on one thing, or rather multiple things at the same time, because they are related to each other and it's not pulling me away in different directions. So that's step 4 for me, to give you as far as how to break your time. Because if you are thinking ahead of how my year is going to go, right, then I need to be able to create projects that I can do at the same time. So for example, well, I gave you examples already, but just to kind of say it again, I'm working on greeting cards. Okay, this is the project that I have on hand. What kinds of greeting cards am I going to make? I know I want to make at least 10 different greeting cards for 10 different occasions. All right, so I have the birthday, I have the graduation, I have the Father's Day, and so I do those things. At the same time, I go ahead and start thinking, oh, I just moved the camera, I'm sorry. Birthday card, what can I do for a birthday card? And again, it's one project. My main project, I'm working on greeting cards. So while I'm working on greeting cards, what am I going to go ahead and create? So where's the other one? Kind of have them all over the place over here. And so when I sit down to draw, that's basically what I'm doing. I do my little illustration for the cake, and then I start thinking about the next occasion. I drew my little girl with the graduation cap, and here's another graduation cap here. For Father's Day, I'm starting to draw my tie. I might be thinking about summertime, so I went ahead and drew my little summertime chair. And so I'm sitting down with my sketchbook, and I'm not creating the greeting cards yet. I'm not creating the stickers. I'm not creating whatever, the art prints, but I'm drawing all of these things in my sketchbook with all of those things in mind, and I'm doing it as I go. By the time I get to sit down to create all of my greeting cards, I already have all of my images. And so I go ahead and start taking pictures of everything. Once I take all the pictures of everything, I start editing everything. I start doing things collectively. And so that's just a quick little boop, boop of how I kind of tie things along so that my year can go out a little smoother. But again, I will go into more depth of how I can make things simpler for me to set out for my goals for the year 2022. So keep an eye out for the next video. Well, the 2 next videos. I'll have one with Jeanette as soon as I get together with her, and how she plans out her year as a wood burning artist and crafter. So, you know, keep an eye out for that. And then keep an eye out for the next video, which will be on things that you can do to make your home business run smoother. I think that should be the title. I'm not quite sure how to title it yet, but we'll figure it out. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video and you got some benefits out of it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you do things differently, don't forget to go ahead and comment. I love the dialogue. I love the conversation. You can visit me on Instagram at art_y_son. I'll go ahead and put that down there, in the description below. So you can visit me on Instagram and maybe we can conversate over there. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. And don't forget to subscribe. I always forget that one. I'll see you guys. Bye.